What is up, my brothers and sisters? This is Mike Tharp with the Financial Freedom Family. We had an amazing show yesterday with Sean Logan. If you missed it, I highly recommend you go back and check it out. He dropped a ton of knowledge, and I'm sure a lot of people weren't really ready for it. Because I know when I first heard Sean talk about it, or when I first started researching this stuff about mindset and energy and manifestation, I thought it was completely crazy. So I totally understand, why you would feel that or why you would think that. But where this really made sense to me is when you talk with people or deal with people. You've probably heard people say that your communication isn't always verbal. It could be nonverbal, it could be body language, it could be how that person feels about you. So I always tell everyone, your mindset creates your own reality. If you don't like a person and they come in and say, "Hey, how are you today?" you could take that to mean they're being friendly, they're being snotty, they're stuck up, they're cocky. And that's all about how you perceive them. So your reality creates that perception, or your perception creates that reality that they are whatever, a snob, stuck up, mean. And this goes with everyone anywhere in the entire world. When we first started to learn about this in teaching with mindset and helping, to teach this to our students, almost all the teachers I work with made fun of it. Like, oh, who cares about mindset? You just need to work hard and not, let this stuff bother you. And I started to learn about it more and started applying it to my own life and found out that it actually worked. So this is the main reason why I have this book back here, Mindset by Carol Dweck. She's a psychologist or doctor from Stanford. You can find her all over YouTube. And literally what you think changes like stuff in your body. It literally changes the neurons. Like, this is hard science. This isn't fairy tale stuff that people are creating. Now, I think it has a lot to do with spirituality and other things like that. But this is hard science that we're talking about. And it's hard to wrap your head around, but I am hoping as people are in quarantine and they're looking for answers and maybe they're feeling depressed or they're going through a hard time, that they would really start to look at these deep, meaning, important things. I think the best way to do it is to watch a movie called Emotion 2.0. It is on Amazon Prime. It is also free on YouTube, so anyone can watch it anywhere in the world. So I just wanted to play a short clip from it right now so you can kind of get a grasp of what it's about. And then you can watch it later if you want to, if you actually really want to start to take control of your life and change your mindset.
Amazing discoveries is the discovery that 90% of our energy is being used to suppress energy from our past. And when you can get access to that suppressed energy and release it, all the energy we're using to suppress, you get back.
Because your body is recreating itself all the time. Literally, this is your story. Your biology is your biography. And what we want is we want to get all this stuff out of the cells. We want the new cell, when it goes over to replicate, to come over to this guy, to the new cell that's being created, and say, "I've got nothing."
Well, during the last 10 years that I was in practice, I was working with some of the sickest people on the planet, people who had been told that there was no cure for them, people who were suffering from things like cancer or chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, lupus, and other diseases. What I found was that the subconscious mind absolutely holds the key to understanding the true underlying reasons why those people were sick.
Now, our subconscious mind, from conception to puberty, primarily conception to 7 years of age, is programmed with emotions, memories.
From the beginning of your birth, you start encoding the world in good experiences and bad experiences, and the unconscious mind holds this, stores it, and makes it real to your conscious mind later on in life. We're successfully producing whatever it is we produce. If you're depressed, you're doing something correctly inside your mind. If you have pain inside your mind, there's a resource to help create and manifest it in the belief system.
So again, that's called Emotion 2.0. You can find it on YouTube. I'll put the link down below when I'm done with this live. But the idea that and I always say this word wrong, your conscious and your subconscious mind if you don't understand that, you're not gonna get life. You're gonna struggle through the entire process. And if you've had trauma in your past, whether it was a bad experience, it could even be something you went through as a kid that you don't even remember, but your cells remember that. And when you think back on that, maybe you think back on, an abusive relationship, or you were raped, or you were abused, or you were mistreated by other people. Literally, when you think back on that, your body experiences that same trauma as if you're living through it again. So people who hold on to past experiences, or they want to blame other people, they experience that trauma almost daily when they won't let that go. So again, I would highly encourage you guys to watch that movie. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research. One of the best guys I have found to explain this even more, and his story is amazing, is Dr. Joe Dispenza. You can find him on YouTube all over. He's always on lots of shows. This is his website. He was in an accident and paralyzed and couldn't walk for, I think, months. And 3 different doctors told him, it's over, it won't happen, you will never walk again, get a rod in your back, you're done. And for some reason, he didn't believe this. And he had all this time, because he couldn't move, he was just sitting there thinking, and he started to do research. And basically what he found out is that you can heal your own body by your own beliefs. And I understand when you first hear this, you're not going to believe it. And people will say, well, I want $1 million. Oh, I want $1 million. Oh, see, it didn't happen. This doesn't work. That's not what we're talking about here. And just believe, people actually really don't believe a lot of the things they say they do. But I'll let you watch him and research him later for what he's dealing with. Now, the main thing I wanted to do today in my video was go over one of his blogs that he wrote. So it's called Emotions as Tools of Creation. Now, I'm a much more logical thinking person. I've always kind of distanced myself from my emotions and not paid them attention, especially like in the political realm. But as I've gotten older and done more research, I've realized that actually emotions are what drive everything. And if you can't control your own emotions or encourage other people to use theirs, you're probably not going to be successful at whatever it is that you're doing. So I just kind of want to read this to you guys and encourage you to check this out, this whole idea of your mindset creating reality. So as human beings, emotions are one of the most powerful tools and resources of creation. Let me blow this up just so you guys can see it. That we possess. This means that as the creator of our own emotions, because we are endowed with free will, at every moment we have the opportunity to choose how we think, feel, act, and react to the people, circumstances, and situations in our lives. So that's just summarizes what I just said, right? So again, with this coronavirus epidemic, I'm choosing to view this as the best time to be alive. I've never had so much time to focus on things that I love and spend time with my kids. But if you want to view this as the worst time in human history, of course, that's what it's going to be for you. Since I began teaching this work, one of the core practices of my teachings has been to guide and enable people to self-regulate so that they can change their emotional states at will. That is, to practice being less of a victim to life and more of a creator in life. And this is what I try to teach my boys every day, is to focus on what you have, not to focus on what you don't have. Don't, look back in the past at some bad experience and keep recreating that in your mind, because then you're actually living through it. Live in the now and enjoy now, because now is all we have. Tomorrow never comes. When we become conscious of our choices, naturally we begin to gravitate towards making more loving ones rather than choices that limit our ability to love. Of course, easier said than done. This is, after all, why it's called a practice, and central to mastering this practice is heart and brain coherence. Source energy, or the first cause. So if you remember yesterday, Sean was talking a lot about energy. Everything in the universe is made up of energy. And I believe, I'm not that great at science, but I believe energy can't be created or destroyed. It's only transferred. Aristotle and the ancient Greeks were famous for, among other things, deliberating the first cause. Essentially, this is the idea that everything in the universe must have arisen from something. Said another way, it means that every chain of causes must go back to an originating source. In the second millennium after Christ, the medieval theologian St. Thomas Aquinas left his mark on history by picking up this mantle. And I know everyone doesn't believe this, but I really believe that my spiritual beliefs that I have with the Bible, Jesus, and God really reflect perfectly with what science is telling us in this mindset. Dinesh, send us that link, brother. Oh yeah, the trailer. I will do that right now. So yeah, thank you, Dinesh. So I will put that Emotion 2.0 in the comments. Appreciate that, Dinesh. Great value. And hey, what's up, Christina? Thanks for jumping on again. Yeah, you probably heard it from Kylie because I talk about him all the time. But anyways, let's get back to Joe Dispenza and Thomas Aquinas. Well, philosophers and theologians have debated this argument since the beginning of time. Here at the start of the third millennium, where science has become the new language of mysticism, we call this first cause source energy, or the unified field. At its core, this creative energy is pure love. Wasn't there a guy, like a carpenter or a fisherman, that talked about loving people? It sounds familiar. Oneness and or wholeness. It is from this point of singularity, from this field where everything material is connected, that we, each as an individual with our conscious mind, descended from and into this 3D reality of density and human physicality. Perhaps the most defining aspect of this physical reality is our senses, which are what plug us into and allow us to experience this realm of matter. In fact, if you were to take away everything that you see, hear, smell, taste, or touch, you would have no experience in this 3D reality at all. When we descended from source, pure love, or singularity down to this 3D reality of density, we began to experience everything in this reality as separate because this is how we experience matter. As the slowest frequency we perceive with our senses, everything from objects to people to places appear to be separate and local in space and time, or occupying space at a particular time. Thus, to experience this reality through our senses is to say, I am here and you are there, and in between us is an ocean of space. Because the material world is experienced through our senses, which is driven by our emotions. Going back to when someone walks in the room and says, hello, how are you? How do you take that? Okay. It is the nature of our senses to fool us into this illusion of separation. When this happens, it becomes very easy to forget our origins or connection to source, oneness, wholeness, or pure love. And this is what I talked about yesterday with Sean, with the whole manipulation with the media and our education system and politics dividing us along red and blue, or wherever you're at in the world. I'm sure there's at least two of them. And this is called duality. It's that there's only two options. You're either with us or you're against us. You're either a Democrat or a Republican. You're either a Christian or an atheist. You're either a Catholic or a Protestant. When our senses become heightened by the stress hormones, separation, and or the belief that this is the only world or reality that exists is further ingrained into our belief system. The arousal of these stress hormones resulting from our perception of a potential danger, threat in our external environment, or anything that could harm our physical bodies causes us to put our attention on everything material in this 3D reality. Those of you that practice some sort of Christianity or lots of other religions, could be Muslims, could be Judaism, I hope you see the connections here with those religions, is that you can't just focus on the material, you want to focus on heavenly or spiritual things. As a result, we narrow our focus to the material world, since where we place our attention is where we place our energy. Then all of our attention and energy is invested into this 3D reality. Thus, we have to play by the rules of matter, trying to change matter in the effort to create what we want. and that takes time. It makes more sense then that the more we live by these self-limiting emotions, the more we buy into and are entrenched in the idea of duality and polarity. The more we live in lack and separation, example, good and bad, right and wrong, past and future, love and hate, male and female, Christian and atheist, Democrat and Republican, believer in COVID, believer in not, mask wearer, non-mask wearer, staying at home, going outside. Are you seeing the connections here? The degree to which we buy into this duality or two choices, the duality consciousness, is the degree to which we become victims of our emotions. I'm talking to everyone. I'm talking to myself. We are all victims of our emotions. Once you realize this, that's the Great Awakening. The sponsoring belief behind this level of consciousness is the idea that things are happening to me rather than for me. Again, going back to, do you create your own reality? The former relinquishes the power that we are actually the creators of our own reality. It is an idea that finds us living in separation and duality. Thus, we find ourselves waiting for something in our outer world to take away the feeling of lack, incompleteness, or separation in our inner world. Now, that could be media, it could be friends, it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be pills, it could be thrills. Lots of different things distract us. The latter assumes the position that each experience is an opportunity to learn, grow, and expand, and that form the knowledge gained from the experience. We have the power of wisdom to create a new reality. You got it, Dinesh. Thanks for checking it out. If we have the desire to create a new reality, we need to begin by ascending our energy away from separation towards wholeness and oneness. This requires us to invest our energy in the unified field, to take our attention off of matter and open our focus into that invisible field of energy. And that requires us to get beyond all of our associations to everything known and material in this 3D reality. Akin to creating a new reality is the mastery of combining brain coherence with elevated heart-centered emotions in the name of this generative creative process. The more we practice these elevated emotions and create heart coherence, the more they become a way of being that inhabits our body. And what he's talking about there is meditation, prayer, quietness, solitude, getting to know yourself, shutting out the noise, turning off the media, getting off social media, focusing on things that really matter. And if you can't do that now, when we have a lockdown, I think you're going to struggle. As these feelings begin to seep into every cell of our being, we start to feel whole. And the field emitted from our heart makes us feel connected to something greater. Now we're living in less lack and separation, and this causes us to move out of duality and polarity and back into oneness and source. If pure love is where we descended from, then the more whole and connected we feel, the less lack, separation, and or want we experience, because we feel like we already have what we are creating. I know that was a little bit long, but I thought it summed it up well and really showed how we create our own reality. And I'm not, I can talk about religion or spirituality, but my whole point is, and I'm going to talk about this stuff a lot, so just please know, I'm not here to push a religion or anything on people. Wherever you're coming from, I think this applies to everyone. I mean, this is science. So whether you're a Muslim, Hindu, Buddhism, a Christian, an atheist, that doesn't matter. I'm not a church. I'm not here to preach. I'm just telling you what has helped me. I'm telling you what I've found research on that's helped me reach students, and I've seen them grow and change as they change their mindset, and what I've seen other experts share. And as I apply it in my life, I found that it works almost eerily of certain manifestations or things that I thought about, wanted to happen, and they happened. And again, this isn't something that's going to be overnight and you say, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow. Okay. How would you live if you were a millionaire? Start living that way tomorrow. Focus on being a millionaire if that's really what you want to do. What would you do if you were a millionaire? Start living and acting that way and start manifesting it. Start meditating on it. Why would you want to be a millionaire? Maybe start hanging out with some millionaires. Now, I don't think money should be your primary driving factor, and that would probably just lead you down a dark road if that was your main reason. What I'm going to try to help people and what I think I want for my life is to focus on being happy and helping others. And I think when you do those things, everything else will take care of itself. If anyone in the Greenville area is in need of help, if you need someone to talk to, jump on a video with, or maybe you need some financial help, please reach out to me. I'm still in the process of setting up my bank account, but there's lots of people I've helped out in the past, and I'm, even if the foundation isn't officially set up yet, I'm really looking for different ways to help people in Greenville. So if you happen to come across any, feel free to shoot me a message. Yeah, so Christina asked a great question here. And how do we get our anxiety to go away with everything that's been going on in the world that makes it worse? When I think about going out to the stores. So Christina, I think what you're going through there is what everyone's going through. And especially if you're watching the news all the time, that's going to cause anxiety for sure. If you're, whether it be watching, even if you're not on the news, if you're just watching TV or on social media, those are, forget, even before COVID, those are anxiety causing stresses in your body. So I would, I'm not a doctor, look into it yourself. But for me, when I was going through that, I had to stop. I had to limit how much time I spent on social media. I started to do more meditation. Essential oils is amazing. That's going to be one of my main things I kind of want to push and help people in Greenville get. Like right now, I'm literally have essential oils going, and they work for me. Another thing would be CBD. Another thing would be exercise. Another thing would be fresh air, meditation, prayer, whatever you're into. And those are just basics. And everyone's probably heard of those things, but do we actually do it every day? I mean, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm lazy. I don't do everything that I say and teach every day. And when I'm talking to people, I'm in no way saying I'm some perfect person that's got this figured out. I'm literally doing this to hold myself accountable, because I know the more I teach about it and the more I do videos on it, the more I'm going to do it. Thank you, Dinesh. Well said. All right. Well, I don't want to go too much longer. I hope you guys found this helpful and enlightening, and feel free to share it with people. Again, just so I'll put the links out there again, but just to recap real quick, is Emotion 2.0 is the name of the movie. It's on YouTube. I don't know how you could watch this and your mind not be blown. I watched this movie in my classroom with my students, and they were completely blown away, even being teenagers. Again, Joe Dispenza, the official website. I'll put a link down there to this as well. And then at some point, I'll probably do part 2 here, but emotions as tools of creation. So I fully believe every single one of us creates our own reality using our mind. Don't blame other people. Don't blame your past. Don't blame your situation. You control your destiny and your reality if you believe it. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. Lace up and peace out.